All right, so today I'm explaining how I've gone from a crappy school project to flying to China in literally a week's time to get that crappy school project turned into a real product that I can hopefully sell. Now, this might be a completely huge mistake, I don't know, but I'm 18, literally fresh out of school, came up with this idea last year, and it started as a crappy little wooden stick. That's literally what the first prototype looked like. So I can sit there laughing about it and all, but in reality, if I can't actually find what I want in China at the Canton Fair, then I'm going to be tens of thousands of dollars behind where I could have been, and also months and months behind where I could have been. So it's a complete gamble. It's a bit scary, but at the same time, it's exciting. It's exactly what I want to do. So this all started back in 2024, January 2024. I was just heading into school, my final year of school, and I thought, I'm not going to uni. I was sort of thinking, I like the idea of e-commerce and, seeing all that stuff on Instagram and thinking, like, that feels like the best thing for me, and I want to give that a shot. But I'm still in school. I'm not, dropping out just wasn't an option. So how can I use school to benefit my future? That's where I thought, I've got a subject called product design and technology, DT, woodwork, whatever you want to call it. And I thought, why not build something I can sell online in that class? So I got thinking, sort of locked myself away for a good 7 days and got busy thinking, all right, what can we do? So as you can see here, that was all my first products, and these were crap. Like, here we go, levitating phone stand, okay, glowing ferrofluid glass ball. Would you guys like to buy that? Levitating crystal growing ball. And for some reason I was obsessed with levitating stuff. I don't know why. It must have been some tiny market research thing I've done and gone yeah, levitating's the way to go. But anyway, so I was sort of getting nowhere with that. 7 days I was thinking, I'm just getting nowhere. This is rubbish. But the change came when I thought, instead of trying to appeal to the entire internet, why don't I instead say, all right, let's niche down into something that I put myself sorry, where I myself am the target market. And then I was thinking, okay, I like the gym. I go to the gym every day. Why not make a gym product? And that's where I eventually landed on the idea of weighted gym style cutlery. So, as anybody would, I got prototyping, got into the design, and quickly ran into a few problems. So here, as I showed before, that was my first prototype, and that in itself took a good 2 weeks to get to, because there was this problem for some reason, and I don't know why, but it just looked crap. If it was too long, it looked like, a barbell, and who wants to be eating with a barbell? And if it was too short, it was uncomfortable. So it was really hard to balance the ergonomics, which is like how it felt, and also the aesthetic. But I did eventually find that Goldilocks zone, which is what I eventually went forward with. Then eventually I added a handle, and there you go. That is what the first prototype of my product that I'm taking to China next week is going to look like. It's rubbish. So that's okay though, because the next thing to do was to add the knurl to make it look real, So of course I went and got it 3D printed, right? And it's broken, sorry. But there you go. That's what the next thing was looking like. And I wish I could show you guys the joy. I wish you guys could feel the joy like I did when this thing came out. Months of work. And when I spray painted this thing in this nice chrome silver metallic coat, and it's all worn away now, but when it was fresh and I got a look of what these things are actually going to look like, I was so pumped. It was like Iron Man in Iron Man 1 when he reveals the Mark II, and he's, the first suit's that crap one he built in that cave. And then the second one's that polished, super sick, stealthy titanium thing. Anyway, Iron Man. But that left one slight issue that actually was kind of massive, which would be, is it heavy enough? Like this whole thing, it's, weighted cutlery, is it heavy enough? And the only way to actually find out was to get them properly made. And that meant investing into getting something, getting a pair of these things made. And that's exactly what I did. There we go. And I can tell you, the weeks leading up to this, I was thinking, are they going to be too light? Are they going to be too heavy? I just hope that what we've come up here with is going to be worth it. Long story short, perfect weight. I was so pumped when I first felt them, because that was like, at that point, it was about 6 months of work just ticked off. Like it was good. It was good. I knew the product was good. But that was only a quarter of the work done, Yeah, I had a cool product done, but I needed to get them made. And this is where the biggest breakthrough of this entire story happened. So at school, my principal brought us year 12s in just individually to have a chat. And I went into mine thinking, it's just going to be a quick good luck sort of thing. Not much I can really do from the principal. And then I'd be on my way. But that's far from the truth. And what he actually said ended up changing, as I said, the course of this entire story. Sorry, I went in and he said, I actually have a parent here at school who owns a stainless steel manufacturing factory in Shenzhen, China. And that was blowing me away, because I'm like, okay, hang on, this is insane. Stainless steel in China, that's what I want. The reason that's such a big difference is because you can't have any old stainless steel. It's got to be the kitchen grade, so that you can eat and not die of metal poisoning or whatever. So that was insane. And the cherry on top, right, was that this guy lived 500 meters from our house. So, of course, the only logical thing for us to do was to print out some business cards and deliver them to his house. Now, this is with my brother and I. We had a mowing business, saving up for our trip to Japan at the end of the year. And we immediately went to school, got these things printed, little design on there, and delivered one into his letterbox. But one day went by, nothing. It's fine, expected. And then the second day went by, nothing, getting a bit like, And then I wake up on day 3, I've got a message from an unknown person, and I read it, and they want their lawns mowed. And it was at that point where I realized, hang on, this is our guy. This is our factory guy. And so somehow we've gone from nothing to hearing about this guy to potentially going to mow his lawn. So anyway, we of course go to mow his lawn, but as expected, nothing really happened on the first week. No amazing conversations about factories and him saying, I want to mentor you guys and stuff like that. But that happened on the second week. And how we got to that point was, it was a bit dodgy. I sort of puppeted my principal into calling our mentor and explaining who we are, what we want to do. He said that my mentor said that they're mowing my lawn at this point. And it was all just, I won't get into the specifics of it, but it was a bit of puppeting, you could say, but it ended up being really good. Like, it was all worth it and stuff. And so then, of course, we were in his living room having a chat about, stainless steel manufacturing, everything. It was great. And so he said, finish school and we'll get into things. So wait a couple months, school's done, out of here, and it's time to get these things, ready to go, fully sorted. And before I move on, I just want to say, if you guys get anything out of this, guys, my camera went flat, but as I was saying, if you can get anything out of this video, it'd be that the power of actually putting your ideas out there and, putting yourself out there even as well, not just your ideas. Because like for me, when I was speaking about these to people, maybe from school, I'm sure that they'd think, oh, what an idiot, and I'm sure that there were people, saying behind my back, whatever. You just don't care about that stuff, because the stuff you could get out of it is something like this. You know, I am talking to my principal about it. I'm outspoken about it and honest about what I'm actually looking to do rather than trying to hide it. And then I get something out of it, such as a mentor with, you know, the greatest person possible, you know, that type of thing. And so it's just put yourself out there and be a bit vulnerable in a way. Like, you might be a bit cringe for going to China instead of going to uni. Like, or people might think, oh, this guy's an idiot. But if you put yourself out there and make a promise almost that I'm doing this, then it's just like you either fulfill that promise or prove those people right. And that's like the last thing you want to do. So if you have an idea, talk to people about it. Just put it out there. See what people think. If people like it, they'll help you out. If they don't, you might get a bit of backlash, but it doesn't matter. Like, I don't even know anybody who used to say crap to me because I just cut them off. Like, I'm not in school anymore. I get to do whatever I want. So that's just take that away if anything. So after school, my mentor said to head to the Canton Fair, and we sort of blindly booked it all. Like I said, got the ticket, flights done, everything like that. And it was only until a couple of weeks ago where I realized, hang on, this is a gamble. Like, there's no guarantee that I come home with a successful, you know, supplier, manufacturer at all, because the Canton Fair, for a bit of context, it's the world's largest import and export show. It is ginormous, like 60,000 stalls, right? And if you have a look, one stall might be the size of, you know, my room here, and this is probably a small stall, to be honest. And there are 60,000 of them. So the idea is that surely, out of all of those 60,000, there's something remotely similar to these that I can then ask them, can you modify this, and the result is one of these. But if not, I have to start from scratch. I have to find a manufacturer. I have to pay for molds. I have to spend months doing that, and probably have to go back over to China, which is more investment. You know, it's just, that's not really sustainable for me at this point when, you know, I've got to actually sell these to start making money. So that's where I'm at this point. So, as I said, China, 1 week. So if you guys want to see how that goes ahead. If you guys are 18, thinking about doing something similar to this or want something else, then just see if this works out for me. And then you can evaluate, is this the thing for me? Like, I'm literally going to be documenting it all. And if it works out for me, great, you know. If it doesn't, you'll know what not to do. And that's what the beauty of this whole thing is. That's why I'm documenting it. And it was actually funny because my teacher, who helped me make these last year, said, this time next year you'll be sitting on your yacht with your big forearms and all that stuff. And here I am speaking to a camera, worrying whether or not this whole thing will work. And I mean, it's fair enough, but I'm pumped. So many videos are going to come out. I'm going to make sure I get everything documented as much as I can. And it's exciting. The airport, I love the airport. It's arguably my favorite place on earth. So I'll explain why in another video, but anyway, I'll see you guys next time.